My phone's acting a bit strange. It keeps cutting out, so whether it's got memory issues or update needs or something like that. I mean, the other thing I'm doing is my crypto stuff. So the ball runs in, it's picking up, and it's just a case of the waiting game, being patient and seeing how much it can fly. I think it's waiting for the top of the bull run. So once I'm in some good projects, I'm in some sort of like mediocre projects. So there's things to do with Matt Fury, who's an artist, an illustrator, and he did the Pepe coin. He did the Pepe, and then they turned it into a coin. And his other characters have run as well. And so some popular ones are listed on lots of different centralized exchanges. So when it comes to the bull run in full swing, when people buy into it, I can make some money, they're probably go through the central exchange, buy it on a central exchange, sell it on a central exchange, and stick the money back in the bank if they made a profit or they put it into something else. They might play the market out and just keep shifting the money around. And, for them, it might be like small percentage gains or losses, but it all adds up. So it all adds up to the big picture. But the long-term investors, the idea is get in at a good price, get out at a good price, but go the distance. That's really the focus of that. And some of these other projects, they're not listed on exchanges, but they are to do with Matt Fury characters, and I bought into them. But some of them I could have potentially made a lot of money on. So there's some that did get listed on some exchanges, but they were a bit iffy. And the price went up, the price went down, and I thought, oh dear. And I basically cheated. So I sold out. And then in the next 48 hours, it's gone up about a 16x or some stupid thing. I thought, oh God, I could have at least made 8,000 one coin, and then we should just take the money out and then buy back in when the price drops again, because there's usually a cycle. So for me, it's learning about trading the cycle patterns. Like there's usually a double top. So something pumps initially, it dumps because the people that originally invested or got coins sold, and then other people buy in to stabilize the project because they think it's a good entry price, and then it peaks again, and then it might pull back, and then it's likely to go back up higher because it's drawn a lot of attention or interest. It's like human behavior, is there more to see? Is it like does it have sustainability and stuff like that? Is it something like a theme or something, or this claiming it's got a certain technology? I mean, a lot of them, everything's meme coins really, because there's a lot of stuff it claims to be like the fastest this, or the next payment system of the universe or whatever. But the reality is no. What happens is it's speculating on what it can do without delivering. And then there's certain things, like for instance Casper, you get all these influencers going, yeah, you got to have some Casper in your portfolio. All you're doing is actually, they've got in early, you're filling their bags, and because of the way it's been heavily influenced, my feeling is as it hits the bear market, people will sell and it will be a panic. But the project has a long-term sustainability, but it's the pump and dump mentality being fed into it. It could be great, but the thing is, if it's a Bitcoin killer, it should stay in that level. If it says it does this, it does everything, people think, well, I'd like to see the results. And then if it doesn't match up to what they're speculating, then people lose interest and pull away, or they look for the next one. I think, oh, what's new on the horizon that I could buy into, I can get. Because nobody really cares how fast it is. It's faster than an ATM. I mean, sure, the transaction speed is probably about the same, like me getting money out of an ATM. Nobody cares if they wait 3 seconds or 1 second. The difference is, though, is I could send £10,000 somewhere, or I could sell it or something within less than 5 minutes, and then that's done. But you can go to an ATM, and if you went to a bank, it'd probably take you a good hour. You'd be queuing up, and then you'd have to get everything authorized, and then but the thing is, it wouldn't instantly go across. You do the paperwork, and it still takes so long because of all the anti-fraud stuff and all this stuff like that. But the regular Joes, or the normies, they're not caught up in that. I mean, sure, there is dodgy stuff out there. I think people look for advantages, especially if there's mistakes made. So that's one thing. Anyway, so I set myself up. But the thing is, it's staying stuck in one position. You're chasing different, basically chasing different change, themes, hype. It's basically a distraction from making money. And every time you switch your money around, you lose money. And if you switch it around when it's on in a negative, then you're losing even more money because you got on a higher point and it dropped in price and you got at a lower point. For me though, I've made so much profit and then I pulled back. So it's like at the moment I got like 13 grand. Originally at one point I had like 180 grand, but I wasn't ruthless. I believed in a project, so I just married it basically. I stayed in this one project, and then the price started to dip, and then I pulled out of that one eventually, and then they run something else where it pumped again. So what I should have done a double dip is that when it originally pumped up to a certain point, I should also look at the months as well. So certain times of the year, like retail, like if Christmas, you're going to be spending your money on other things. You're not going to be spending it on crypto. Some things might run though. It depends how it works really. But there's usually so in the range, usually September, October, November, things might peak a little bit. It probably it stagnates a little bit around Christmas time, and then by January, February, it's likely people are going to be selling, and then it'll drop, and then it usually starts picking up. You can buy back. Its lowest point is probably about June, so you end up buying back in at June, and then you'll make your additional profit, and then you pull out basically around September. So that's kind of how you work at the bear in the bull market. But if you're not aware of this kind of cyclic behaviour, then you might just run on the news, and then things are pumping and dumping. You think, what's going on? But it's the nature of the market. Everything. If the big players dump their bags, then it's going to pull everything else down, and then people respond to it out of fear, and then it starts collapsing like it's a Jenga or something, or a house of cards. So I think initially that's why it was a big pullback. There was no news. It dropped in price. They made a few bad errors, this particular project. And then they brought something else new, and I'd pulled out already. Well, I had a grand in it, and then that shot up to about 10,000. And then I ended up reinvesting that into some meme coin sort of stuff, and that started to pump. And at its highest point, like over a month or so, it was like 30 grand. And then it's sort of, I think I took some money out for this car I'm in at the moment as well. But the thing is, as long as you're in the green, that's where you want to be. You don't want to be like making mistakes where you lose all your money and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's still a big bag than average to have sort of like, 13 grand in different projects. But a majority is in one that's likely to go up quite a bit. And then let's see where that takes me. So it might make me 100 grand. It might make me a lot more. I don't know. You don't know in the market. But there's so much going on. The Trump stuff, everything else, whether they're pro-crypto in their stance, and whether we get some sort of peace or some other stuff going on in the world. But generally the market for crypto isn't affected by global stuff. It is initially like COVID. It's sort of pullback, and then it's sort of pick up again. But it's knowing that some news will cause it to pump, and some news will cause it to dump at a certain amount. So that's always important. What else has been going on? I think I've had some sort of like COVID stuff. I don't know. I had some breathing stuff. That was a few days ago, and headache I had for about 24 hours or something like that, and my stomach's been a bit funny. So it might be some viruses. But the problem is when I work with vulnerable people, is they kind of incubate the viruses as well, and all sorts of bacteria. It's like I got someone with pneumonia, so it could be that the exposure. I mean, he's on antibiotics, but I don't know what my immune system's like. If I expose that bacteria, my body might have to work through it, but more of a natural way, might be prolonged. But just to be noticed that things like at night, it's been sort of like gasping a little bit. I've been breathing, and I thought, crikey, and I've had to take a big inhale of oxygen. The other thing you can use is sort of like things to help you breathe your airways, so things like Vicks and stuff like that. Anyways, peace sign off. I'm going to do a bit of shopping, and I'll probably try to make some more videos and stuff, and I'll probably look at some of my other things on other channels. It's just finding stuff out there on the net and then working it, and then turn it into something more interesting, because some things are like Reddits and all sorts of things out there, and they're interesting stories, and then you're trying to look at things that correlate as well, and then sort of make something that's interesting. And I just do it for fun, really. I'm not doing it from some massive business. Otherwise, there'll be ads all over my channel and everything. So there we go. Anyways, peace on off. Have a great one, and speak to you soon. Bye.